is received with gratitude. We acknowledge and thank you for your gifts. And we thank Ken for the lovely music. I didn't title this next piece sermon the way I usually do, because my intention was for it not to be one. And then, of course, I wrote down more words than I intended to, which is my norm. But we'll get through some of this. What are the social implications of Unitarian Universalism? Clarence Skinner asked this of his Universalist faith over 100 years ago, and we heard some selections of his thought in the reading. While his language is somewhat dated, his prophetic outlook truly stands the test of time. Most passages could have been written this year. Skinner asked how religion can serve humanity, because as he saw it, God is manifest through the actions of people, our actions. He believed traditional religion was waning, largely because they held that we humans are inherently depraved and in need of salvation. The Universalists were different, claiming we are inherently worthy and potentially noble, and that damnation and salvation exist not by divine judgment, but only as a consequence of our own life choices. In turn, Skinner preached that we should feel compelled to address social conditions and to improve the lot of our peers as we can. Humanity is a community, and we should invest in our neighbor as in ourselves. Skinner's conclusion from the Universalist side of our faith heritage demands that we live our lives in service to the greater good. Today, now that we are Unitarian Universalists, we don't teach beliefs, but we do hold strong shared values that together form the basis of a working theology, a theology that defines our shared commitment to personal and collective liberation. Our call is still and will always be to do good in this world. Here at Beverly Unitarian, we try to live this message. We claim to be a welcoming people, open to differences and accepting of others. I say something to this effect every Sunday that I'm here. And we frequently enjoy singing the words of Rumi. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again, come. Usually we say these things when we're talking about our church, but it's not a very big reach to extend them to our community, our nation, and all of humanity. In our ideal world, all are welcome. We subscribe to a path of offering hospitality and belonging for everyone. Recently, an influx of immigrant asylum seekers in our community presented us with a clear and compelling situation where we face people who are in dire need of welcome and support. And I will interchangeably call them asylum seekers, immigrants, refugees, and a bunch of other things. They're almost all interchangeable. These refugees left their homes because they had little or no choice. Some combination of poverty, political repression, and subjection to crime and other maladies led them to leave their home nations and take on a risky and difficult journey to the United States border. This month, we are seeing mostly Venezuelans, many of whom made that dangerous passage from Colombia into Panama through the Darien Gap. Other times it's been Haitians, Hondurans, Mexicans, Cubans, Peruvians, others from Latin America, people from African countries like Cameroon or Angola, or in Asia, Syria, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. All of these people have showed up at our southern borders at some point in time. The one thing they have in common is the will to try to find asylum, safety, and an opportunity to flourish and live in the United States. Now, I won't even entertain the question of why we should allow them to cross our border. In my vision of the world, denying them this opportunity would be a sin. So Unitarianism can have sins, in my eyes. But there is room at the end. We will even benefit from expanding our labor force, although that should not be the driving factor behind what is primarily an ethical choice. Large numbers of immigrants are being shipped, mostly by bus, from the border states to the northern cities that define themselves as sanctuaries. Actors such as Governor Abbott of Texas and DeSantis of Florida send these refugees to us not as an act of compassion, but as a screw you to the blue state liberals. Chicago, New York, California, and Denver are common destinations. And we accept these people because they came. We refuse to continue the practice of treating them as political footballs in some mean-spirited game of anti-wokeism. But we were not prepared to accept the large number of asylum seekers that did arrive. So Chicago and those of us in Chicago are doing what we can. I believe the numbers are something like 10,000 immigrants have shown up in this way since last August. Right now, the flow of guests is unpredictable. They arrive with little notice and then stay at police stations until an alternative reception center can be found that has space for them. The quality of those reception centers is another issue that we can consider over time. They are moved with little notice from the police department to the next location. In Beverly Morgan Park, refugees are being housed at the 22nd District Station on 111th Street. And they spend much of their day at the Edna White Community Gardens, which are just across the street. Efforts to provide for their needs are being pulled together, sort of, by a combination of official and volunteer services. Tim Noonan, who ran for alderman last cycle, is trying to oversee volunteer activity and coordinate responses to known and immediate needs. There is a 19th Ward Mutual Aid Facebook site and a WhatsApp texting system that is used for immediate communications. And it seems that every time I haven't looked at my WhatsApp thing on the phone, I've missed like something like 100 or 150 messages. It's pretty amazing. It's hard because everything's so fluid. One group might have families with kids, and the next group will be mostly adult men. And the refugees often have complex needs, medical and dental issues, and other things. The community, more than any other official group, is feeding them and helping them to access showers and laundry facilities, providing suitcases and blankets and clothing and essentials, pretty much whatever is needed. And on the WhatsApp thing, you'll see something like, we need a sweatshirt, size large, for Guillermo. And somebody will say, okay, I got it. And that just happens. A local teacher is running English classes, and some of the refugees are picking up temporary jobs to earn some money. But the whole process of navigating bureaucracies, getting documentation and IDs, and learning how to negotiate Chicago is daunting. It would be daunting for anybody without cultural and language barriers. Because tomorrow's needs are unknown, it's quite difficult to manage and to plan. You should all be proud of our community and the many of our church members for entering into the crisis and doing whatever seemed needed to give support to these persons who are in such uncertain places in their own lives. Now, I'm not an authority on any of this. I've hung out a bit and looked over people's shoulders, and I even drove a few people to the shower one night, but I have not been deeply engaged yet. I would like to ask a few people here if they can help me to paint a slightly better picture of what this assistance effort has been like and what they think might be needed in the near future. Among the many people in our church that have been involved, I know that Anna Carvlin, Mary Carvlin, Pam Carlson, Mike Wolf, Carolyn Parker, Linda Peterson, Mary Crowley, and I'm sure a whole mess of others, and I'm sorry I didn't name you. You've all had your fingers in this very messy pie, one way or another. And many others have helped or offered to help in the future. But my question for the people who know more than I do is just from whatever way that you think your own vantage point, if we can answer a couple of things. First is just to give us a little sense of who we're serving, who these people are, at least who they are the week you were involved with them. And the second is guessing how we, as a group, could viably do something sustainable to help support these efforts into the future. And nobody will have all those answers, but I sort of even want to open this up briefly like a little meeting, a little show and tell and a little brainstorming, just to see what we can do to participate in this issue. And there are a few people I expect to have something to say. One would be Anna on Zoom, if Pam can hook her up.
Let me say that I have not done this before, and I'm afraid of a large screeching noise that might happen.
Okay, we'll just pretend it's Anna.
Ask Anna to unmute herself.
Anna, Pam asks you to unmute.
Hi.
Very good. Okay. Well, Anna, try talking, see if anything happens.
Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me?
Your mouth moves nicely.
I don't think this is. No.
Okay, that might not work.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
We will check back with you, Anna, one way or another. Before we do that, let me first go to, let me get your name right. Mary Beth Rolak, who spoke briefly earlier, is self-defined as Friends of the Church.
Friends of the Church. And
yeah. Or I can bring you the mic, either way. Yeah, come on up.
Would like to see you.
Mary Beth Rolak, come on down.
I am a 4-decade school teacher, so this doesn't scare me in the least. What is happening in District 22, as I mentioned a little bit earlier.
I'm just typing it in the chat so then I can move.
It's building the plane while still flying.
Hang on, almost there.
And the needs change every single day. But there are systems thinkers who live in this community who have taken it upon themselves to establish a system for welcoming new guests, as we like to say, by providing a sheet in which they're asked in Spanish what they need, what are their immediate needs. And everything from underwear to shoes to,
like tickling?
I know that
you like tickling?
Carolyn provided a highlighter Sharpie for a young girl who's also a student from Venezuela who is still reading. She wants to continue her study. So those kinds of things are being done. And these are silent, passionate, committed people in the neighborhood who just step up.
not really like a
And
ticket.
it isn't always monetary assistance, although I'm sure down the road it'll be helpful because these folks have to get downtown to their immigration meetings. But there are just so many small, silent, but meaningful ways to help. And if Pastor Harden is on the email chain or on actually the chat from 22, there are laundry teams. There is the speaking English in the park. There is a welcoming committee. So from the moment these folks get off the bus, they are embraced by the warm hugs of folks, including you. And I want to say thank you for that.
Thank you.
I think we have it solved, so ask Anna to unmute that, please.
Anna has been talking this entire time.
What? Ask
Anna,
Anna to unmute.
Here we go. Hi.
can you
Can you
make
guys hear
sure
me?
you're unmuted? We're going to try you again.
Okay, they're gonna. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, okay, so hi everyone. I did put it in the chat, but I'll say it again. So I think we can help at least 3 people that I've been in really close contact with, help them find apartments. They really want to stay in the area. And before that happens, because it can take, you know, a little bit of time to really find somebody who's willing to take that leap, with somebody who doesn't have a history of renting and whatnot, before that happens, to possibly temporarily house these people, either in anybody in the congregation who's willing to house them while we're doing that search, or possibly at the church. And I know we don't have a shower, but they don't seem to mind that because they can hop over to the park. So the other thing is signing people up for benefits that they're eligible for. Some are eligible for Medicaid right now, and so we want to get them signed up. There's a pregnant person. There's some people under 19 and over 42. So those people. And then the other thing I put was what? That's basically it. So just like maybe getting a crew together at the church who's really interested in doing some of that, and then, like, you know, tackling it together as a group. So those are my ideas.
Okay. I think she's done.
Yeah.
I'm being told to wait. Am I allowed to speak now? To help clarify a little what Anna was saying, that there are many people coming and going and a lot of things going on. Anna has pretty much sort of adopted 3 people that are particularly ambitious that basically approached her, and they're really trying to make things work for them. Unlike most of the people now at the 22nd district, these are not Venezuelans, they're Angolan. And instead of speaking Spanish, they speak Portuguese and French. So that's another reason why Anna can talk to them, because she's fluent in French. Her Spanish is better than mine. I can only do menus, but it's not great. At any rate, there's also one of the main activities that people from this church were doing last week was pretty much coordinated by Pam. And we took people to the showers. I just happened on it by accident last Monday night, but I know she's done it many nights and recruited people to help her. And we just show up in our cars in the Ridge Park at 96 and Longwood has a swimming pool and a locker room and showers, and they will let us bring people to the showers in the evening. And so we've been going down and parking by the garden and seeing who wants showers, and then driving them up in our little cars in groups of 3 or so, and waiting, because we have to be with them while they shower and bring them back. And it's this simple little thing. And the one time I did it, the guys I took were just so thankful. And I think you've all had that experience. They went out of their way to come and find me and say thank you and shake my hand and smile and do whatever. You know, it's a really cheap feel good. And that obviously, you know, that doesn't solve many problems, but it solves a problem. And the more we can do to solve problems and to make people feel like maybe they do belong here, that's very important. Because, you know, somebody used the term, these are strangers in a strange land. And they're uprooted, and anything helps. Greg?
Yeah, if I just make one comment, I think Anna made a number of comments in the chat. Rather than looking at it now, I just want to say, maybe people after the service want to go look at what's written there, just as an idea.
Okay, and she's raising some real issues about how we can provide some slightly more intensive and direct services for these people.
I, through informal contact, know a little bit about the protections that are offered to anyone here who would even consider housing temporarily, you know, a family, a person. And you may sign a rental agreement that is on a state of Illinois form agreeing, it's a regular formal rental agreement, who you are, how long you are agreeing to this arrangement, what rent you are charging them, could be nothing, could be $5 a month. But anyone who might decide to be nosy or inquire too much about seeing someone walking back and forth, you know, in your home, it's my understanding that the authorities can, or you as a renter, cannot ask anyone about their immigration status. So as long as you have a lease with these folks with a finite amount of time, and it's approved by the state of Illinois, that in itself removes some of the fear of opening up your home to new folks.
That's a big part of our sanctuary status. Even the police are not allowed to ask about immigration status. Okay, well, Jean.
I have a question. I understand that one of the reasons we want to support the Edna White Garden is that they have provided some odd job work for some of the immigrants who are using the garden so that they have a little bit of money. And I wondered if we always have need for more landscaping yard work here, whether we could potentially offer some odd job employment to people just on a, how about today, how about are you available now to go pull weeds, that kind of thing.
I don't know the logistics. I'm sure that's reasonable. And there's an awful lot that's undecided. Everything's hanging in the air and we don't know it. But I would really encourage people to keep talking, to talk to the people whose names we've mentioned today that we know are involved. Carolyn's going to say something wise.
Oh, not wise. I just want to tell you a little bit about, I've had an opportunity to meet some of these people. Genesis and Edward are younger people, very energetic. Alexis is learning English and likes to practice with English-speaking people. And there's another person who is an accomplished artist. And I heard that he's also an attorney.
I just knew about the art.
Yeah, Juan Carlos is his name, and he does this incredible art. And they've even talked about having him maybe go to the farmers market, thank you, and sit and do portraits for people to earn a little bit of money. But these people are just delightful people. And the response of this community has been wonderful. Everybody who's just jumped in and said, I can do that, I can help. It's a wonderful thing.
Amen to that. Okay, well, I will continue mostly by saying there is a continuing call for participation. And, right now, the person that will probably be making the most directive requests is Anna, because she's working with real people with real problems and not just sort of diffusely with a group. But there are so many things we could do. And I'd really love to get a handle on what people think will be going on in the near future, whether this stream of immigration and using police stations and temporary residencies will continue for a long time, or whether this has been a short-term blip. But there are kinds of things we could do. We could very easily, for example, cook a meal a week with a group coming together and working in our church kitchen, and take it over there, provide a day's food a week, or something like that. That's something we could afford and something we could do if we can coordinate with the people that need it. We don't want to just go cook food and show up and have nobody there to eat it and waste it, and step on somebody's toes who spent the whole day cooking for them. But so there's a lot we could do. But I'm going to continue, leaving problems unsolved, many strings hanging in the air. We always need to recall that the United States is a nation of immigrants. We once glorified in this. And the words of Emma Lazarus is inscribed on the Statue of Liberty. Give us your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to be free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, to me. But our best words, our best aspirations only work if we live them and fully embody their meaning and their purpose. There are people arriving who really need some help, and I see every reason why we should join in the effort to help them as they work to build these new lives.